Alright guys, welcome back. Been a few days since I've done anything. Been kind of busy. Got back to work day one, and boss said needed a report card support form slash OER support form. So I spent, all day trying to get that done because of a few things. Army switched over to some new system, and it took something that was painful and made it extremely painful to get done. So it took most of the day and the night to get that done. So I didn't get to do anything really last night other than started cutting the clunks and everything for the tanks and plumbing, which is what the video is going to be about. I'll show you guys here. Yeah, here you go. Alright, so I already put some pictures up and kind of talked about it. The mod that I do for these tanks, fiberglass or Kevlar. Instead of having the clunk sit right on the Kevlar or the carbon or the fiberglass, I just glue on a real thin piece of aluminum with high saw, put a hole in it, and basically use my Dremel and cut it to the exact same size it needs to be for the clunks. I did that to all three tanks. You got these are your mains. Guessing they're mains. I'm going to use them for mains. Looks to be, that's probably close to 1.5 gallons, 2 gallons. And then the smoke tank, which I'll eventually get hooked up and everything once I get a smoke pump. I did the same thing to it as well. I used a smaller clunk line for that. I used what came with the kit minus this. I went ahead. I had a BVM, one of their standard BVM clunks, instead of using the ones supplied with the kit. And I used the tie gun they supplied, and that's pretty much it. Cut it to length, put some lock wire around each end to hold it on, and then it'll go in like that. And then once you tighten the screw down and it expands, it's got something to push against other than that Kevlar. So it won't do the typical spider cracks that you tend to see when people do that. This is the main tanks. I used BVM's high flow tank line. It's not as stiff as Tygon, but the problem, I don't think it's a problem. It'll probably soften up and get more flexible once you get it in some fuel. But you can see that if you don't get it just, like this, it's one thing, but then if you put it the wrong way because of the bend, natural bend to it, it does that. And my only worry is that it crimps real easy. May not be a problem, like I said, once it's in fuel, and I'm assuming it's not, but these are pretty large diameter, inner diameter, and I used, like I said, used this large brass tubing like I had in the last videos. I just simply took a piece of the brass tubing with an X-Acto knife and ran it around on the inside and made like a sharp edge, and then I went through and just kind of twisted it in and cut a new hole large enough for this new brass tubing. I could have just shoved it through there, but when you do that, it expands it, and I don't think I would have been able to get it into the clunk into the hole of the fuel tank. That was an easy fix for that. I'm using a bigger clunk than the standard, or the not clunk, but the stopper is one of these larger ones that I had. It works out because this brass tube is quite large compared to the other one, and I don't think I could have used the stock ones and used the same diameter tubing, so that helps out as well. But did the typical lock wire, and everything's cut to the length it needs to be for each tank. which I think I should have, I just mixed them up. Pretty sure this one's for this tank and this one's for this one. But anyways, that being said, got some stuff in the mail today from DreamWorks. Got my servos in for the gear doors. I'm using high-tech HS82 metal geared servos at 6 volts, about 47 ounces of torque. That's overkill for a servo door, and they're a little heavy, than I'm used to for a micro servo. But I probably could use one of them, run a rod to each side of the door, but the way the gear comes up, you've got to have one on each side. Definitely heavier than using air cylinders to open the gear doors, but I figure air cylinders, the two-way valve to operate them, and the servo would be more than just doing 2 servos. So that's my fix for that. I decided to go with, since this is going to be kind of like my first air system for a jet like this, big jet anyways. I'm going to try this air power, but it's DreamWorks kind of has their name stamped on it as far as the distributor, but it's a dual. Reason why I went with this unit is because it has the ability to give you 2 PSIs for your brake and your gear, so I don't need 2 separate onboard, the typical round out indicating air pressure indicators. So this will do both the gear and the brakes. It's a fail-safe. It has a sequencer built in it for the gear doors. It also has a function for brakes, that you can set it up to do brakes, like kind of like an anti-lock braking system, and has the ability to put a lighting system in there as well. Hook up your lights, so if your gear, if you want your lights to operate with your gear, it'll do it as well. Got a pretty good deal on it. It was on sale for $95, and when you add up the $50 for the 2, gosh, what do they call those things? Just your pressure, your PSI indicators. You 2 of those, and then you got all the other stuff. The sequencer, if you just bought it by itself, it'd be nearly $100. And this kind of does it all. So I'm gonna give it a try. The instructions, I was looking at them on their website, are ridiculous, but hopefully I can figure it out. So, and then, lo and behold, bam, my 1.5 inch long Futaba SWB servo arms that I've been waiting on. I got lucky. This package actually got sent to an old address, and we always forward our mail because we move around a lot, and just beat the 1-year timeline where they stopped forwarding your mail. And I thought it was going to go back to DreamWorks, and I actually called them and let them know that, and they said they would just resend it back out. But luckily, I got home today and it was here, so they just forwarded it to the new address. Sequencer also comes with this 2-to-1 kind of deal. This one will plug in for my sequencer as well, and it's got 2. It's hard to see. 2 little barbs that will screw in here at the end with little plastic washers on them. One for the gear, one for the brakes. Or gear doors, but my gear doors are going to be electric, so I don't have to worry about that. So that being said, I'm going to get back to work. Go ahead and get the servos installed, get the lines cut in the wings for the servo arms. The only thing about these SWBs, they have a 440 hole on them, which is what these ball ends that I have that I normally use on my jets are 440. So instead of using the typical clevis like this on my flaps and everything, I'm going to use, it's going to have to be the ball end on this end, kind of like this end is, but it's going to be a dual end. Have to do a little bit bigger hole in the actual wing, but these are long enough that it may not be an issue, so we'll see. But that being said, I'm going to get back to it and get these tanks put together, and yeah, that's about it. But you guys have a good one. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Once all this stuff's done, I'll make another video for you guys.